Tensions in the Middle East, they feel like a constant, right? But what if a major conflict wasn't just some vague possibility, but something that could be predicted? Well, today we're going to walk through one really detailed analysis that does just that, laying out a startling step-by-step anatomy of a potential US-Iran war. I mean, that's the big question, isn't it? We hear all the time about sanctions and drone strikes, but what would a full-blown modern war between the US and Iran really look like on the ground? Well, this particular analysis tries to give us an answer. Now, it's really important to be clear here. What we're about to dive into is one specific, very detailed prediction. Our job isn't to say if it's right or wrong, but to just unpack its logic and understand the chain of events it describes. Think of us as your guide through this one particular scenario. Okay, so first up, why would this analysis predict a conflict is imminent? Well, it all starts from the idea that we're already past the point of no return. The thinking here is that all the diplomatic moves have been made, and we're already seeing the opening moves of an actual conflict. So the first big domino to fall, according to this analysis, is that the time for talking is over. It suggests that a very specific story is being crafted, one that says, hey, we tried everything else. This kind of message is basically the final green light before shifting from diplomacy to military action. And this number, well, it's meant to show you just how fast things could ramp up. The analysis points to this absolutely staggering rate of military buildup. We're not talking about a slow trickle of equipment. We're talking about an exponential increase, a clear sign that the pieces are being moved into place for something big. All right, so if the fighting starts, what does it actually look like? The prediction here is very specific. This is not a ground invasion, no boots on the ground. Instead, it would be a war fought from the air and, this is the really crucial part, in cyberspace, on a scale we've never seen before. And the goals, they're predicted to be very strategic, very surgical. The idea would be to focus on taking out Iran's biggest threats. You've got their long-range missiles, their nuclear program, and of course, their ultimate trump card, the ability to choke off the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most important oil choke points in the world. Now, this is a really fascinating comparison. You remember the first Gulf War, right? That was the public debut of shock and awe, showcasing all these new precision-guided missiles. Well, this analysis suggests a war with Iran would be the debut of a new kind of shock and awe, one based on cyber warfare. Think about shutting down power grids, communications, crippling a country without dropping a single bomb. Of course, a conflict this huge doesn't just happen in a bubble. The analysis argues that those first strikes would be just the beginning. It's like throwing a massive boulder into a pond. The ripples would spread out and pull in all the other regional powers, kicking off a whole new, very messy geopolitical game. These are the regional dominoes. And this really gets to the heart of how complicated the loyalties are in the region. You've got countries like Saudi Arabia, who see Iran as their #1 rival. But, and here's the twist, they also kind of benefit from sanctions that keep Iranian oil off the market. It means less competition. So a war that might end the regime and bring all that Iranian oil flooding back, that's actually a huge economic problem for them. It's a true conundrum. Okay, so we've been looking at the predicted US-led campaign, but a war has two sides, so how would Iran fight back? Well, the analysis predicts they wouldn't try to fight the same way. The response would be asymmetrical, totally unpredictable, and designed to hit where it hurts in ways you'd never expect. They'd be playing by a completely different rulebook. This brings us to this key concept: regime survival mode. Think about what that means. According to the analysis, it means everything is on the table. Every tool, every plan they have been developing since 1979 for this exact doomsday scenario, it all gets activated. The gloves would be completely off. And here's their biggest, most obvious conventional threat. The analysis points out that Iran has been running live fire drills in the Strait, practicing for this very moment. This isn't just some empty threat. It's a capability they've been honing, and a promise they fully intend to keep if they're attacked. But beyond the Strait, the real retaliation would be global and totally unconventional. This analysis emphasizes that Iran has real expertise in subterfuge, attacking when and where you least expect it. We could be talking about activating sleeper cells around the world, using their vast network of proxy forces for deniable attacks, you name it. Now here is a super interesting internal dynamic. You've got the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They're the true believers, the powerful force built to protect the regime at all costs. But then you have the regular Iranian military, which has historically had a pretty tense relationship with the IRGC. The analysis raises this incredible possibility. In a moment of extreme crisis, could the regular army actually flip and side with the Iranian people? That would be a complete game changer. So let's play this out. Let's say the air campaign happens and ends. Is it over? Not even close. The analysis suggests that the end of the fighting is really just the beginning of a brand new and maybe even more complicated chapter for the entire region. Regime change is often talked about as a potential goal, but there's a huge practical problem here. Unlike in some other revolutions we've seen, the Iranian population is largely unarmed. So without weapons or that massive military defection we just talked about, any kind of popular uprising would face a monumental, maybe impossible challenge. And this is the long-term fallout. The analysis poses some massive questions. Does that fragile new alliance from the Abraham Accords actually survive the strain of a war? And if Iran is suddenly removed as the common threat, do all the other regional powers just pivot to fighting each other over oil and influence? You might solve one problem, only to unleash a dozen new ones. And really, that's the ultimate question this analysis leaves us with. It paints a picture not of a clean, easy solution, but of a massive geopolitical earthquake. One where taking a major piece off the board doesn't end the game, it just starts a brand new one that's even more unpredictable.